Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our 30th edition of this webinar. So we typically have it in every Sunday on around 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And today we have a very interesting topic, like other sessions, of course. But this is why it is interesting. I'll just explain a little bit. Because BFSI is an industry which we have not yet explored, and we have touched upon various industry, various domains, sometimes technology, etc. But this is one of the area which is very highly regulated, right? Very risk sensitive, process intensive, and sometimes data rich. And I'm sure our speakers and moderator will explore further today, right, in this fireside chat. So today, what is expected that um, we'll be exploring reimagining BFSI in the age of AI. What are the challenges, the transformation scopes, the trust, right? And what is there for us in the coming days. Now, let me take this opportunity, let me take this moment to introduce our speaker for the session, Mitu Roy. Now, Mitu Roy is an accomplished testing, pre-sales, and delivery leader with over 20 years of global experience across consulting and technology services. She's currently serving as an associate director at PwC India. She partners with leading financial institutions to drive large-scale digital transformation that are secure, resilient, and customer-centric. With 15 years in consulting at PwC and 7 years in the services industry, Pitu brings extensive global experience across UK, USA, Singapore, South Africa, and Sri Lanka. She has successfully led multi-year enterprise scale transformation programs spanning core modernization, digital platform, regulatory-driven initiatives, and enterprise quality transformation. Mitu holds an MBA degree from Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode, and brings a rare combination of business strategy, technical depth, and transformational leadership to help financial institutions navigate the evolving AI-driven future with the confidence. So welcome, Mitu, to our fireside chat.
Thanks, Shubhradita.
Yeah. So I would like to take also this opportunity to introduce Dola. So she's a seasoned IT service delivery leader with over 22 years of experience in driving large-scale technology programs and delivering business critical outcomes. She currently serves as a delivery partner at TCS, where she plays a pivotal role in leading strategic delivery initiatives and enabling enterprise transformation. Her expertise spans complex global delivery across the energy utilities and resources and life sciences and healthcare domains, where she has successfully helped organizations navigate digital evolution, operational excellence, and large-scale transformation. So it takes me immense pleasure to welcome both Mitu and Dola in this fireside chat. And with this, I'll pass it to Dola to run this show. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the luck.
Thanks, Shubhabrata, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. A warm welcome to everybody on this Sunday morning. And Shubhabrata, as you said, we are on the 30th edition of this webinar today, and I've been almost witness to a lot of your previous webinars, and we have spoken extensively about multiple domains, right? We have spoken about how AI has revolutionized the social media, e-commerce, healthcare. We also touched upon the telecom sector. I think this is the first time that we are, going into a domain which is very close to all of us, right? The banking, financial sector, and insurance domain. And obviously, it is very connected to all of us because it deals with our money after all, right? So I think ours is a generation which has seen some of the major transformations and digitization in BFSI, right? Decades, 3 to 4 decades back, when we started with the infrastructure digitization, moving from the manual to the core banking systems, right? And then the automation of the entire of their back office functions. Moving further, we saw the digitization or the transformation in customer experience, starting with, internet banking, when we started banking from the comfort of our homes rather than going to the banks. From then on, it was mobile banking and then the complete omni-channel experience, right? We also saw the appification of the different banking apps, right? And then the great revolution, I would say, particularly in India, through the digital payments, limiting of the cash transactions, through UPI, QR based and wallet based transactions, right? So each of those definitely was a significant leap, right? And through all of this, this sector has very nicely, very beautifully balanced the digitization along with the user experience and the stakes in security. So, but now, as we are all talking about this AI enablement, and particularly in BFSI, I think there is a hyper personalization involved. There is a lot of decision making involved. So it is not just about bringing in efficiency or automation like earlier waves, but it is a complete overhaul, a complete complete way of redefining how BFSI is able to understand the risks, is able to serve the customer in a better way, and still maintain the trust, right? So it is not just about that what AI can do, rather how responsibly, how securely, and how keeping the human element in the loop we are able to deploy it, right? So I am delighted to be joined by Mitu today, and thanks, Mitu, for joining us on this Sunday morning. And together, let us explore some of the challenges, some of the transformation, some of the trust imperatives, and what the future or what tomorrow truly looks like for this industry, right, in this AI driven world. So, with this, let me straight go into the questions, right? And Mitu, I was just now talking about the different waves of transformation or digitization that we have done in BFSI. So, how do you think, this AI enablement is fundamentally different from the earlier waves of digitization that has happened in BFSI?
So, in BFSI industry, we have seen like aggressive growth in terms of technology in the last 20 to 25 years. So, as you mentioned, like there was a culture of standing in the queues and getting our transactions done, starting from opening an account to opening an FD, RD, whatever be it. And then we moved on to the internet banking, and internet banking was also like slow in adoption. It was not like people were jumping onto the internet banking. People were not very savvy with the internet as well at that point of time in the year of 2000 to 2010. Then came mobile in the year of 2004 to 2007. I think iPhone came into being in the 2007. And then banking moved to the, I mean, it became portal, so we had
Correct.
banks in our pockets at that point of time. And then came the digital banking. The banking that we see today is completely digital, like starting from opening an account, starting from opening an FD, or you, if you want to open a demat account or buy some stocks or sell some stocks. So everything can be done digitally nowadays. And AI, artificial intelligence, is just like the cherry on the top. So we just moved from the rule based engines that we used to have to further intelligence. So previously it used to be like, if my account is below 5000 rupees, then shoot an SMS to the client. And now from that, if then, it has moved to intelligence. Now, when we say intelligence, it means that it studies all our accounting behavior, all our banking behavior. It also studies our social network, social media behavior, in order to come up to a decision. In order to come up to a decision, for example, our credit scores and everything, they can be decided based on our social media behavior. So artificial intelligence is now embedded within different aspects of the banking, starting from KYC to customer onboarding, from your lead generation to lead
Yeah.
qualification, lead prioritization, and risk management, everywhere. So it's embedded in every pocket of the BFSI industry. But the technological advancement, the digitization, was not at pace with the technological evolution that happened. So if you remember, we started with C, then C hash, then Java, now it's Python, R, etc. But banking systems, banking applications, they don't evolve as much as the technology evolves. it's risky. It's risky for them to evolve with that pace the technology is evolving. So it's evolving, but it's not evolving that with that pace. It's slow. So adoption is also slow. It's also expensive for them to adopt the technologies with so fast rate the technology is evolving. And AI within banking is also not everywhere. I mean, there are pockets where AI has grown aggressively. I was looking into the recent newspaper articles. I saw that the customer support area where the voice agents are required, that is an aggressive area where AI has evolved. So 11 Labs, Ring.ai, they are like voice AI companies. You won't believe, 11 Labs has raised $500 million recently.
Wow.
They are a voice company. They're a voice AI company. Ring.ai, they have raised 48 crores Indian rupees. And these two, both of them are Indian startups. And what they do, they cater to the outbound calls and inbound calls, the customer support part of the banking and insurance companies. So this is one part where AI has really aggressively evolved, because this is one part which is not risky. This is one part which is not, what should I say, it does not require much of a customer risk evolution and all those things. Yeah.
Great, Mitu. I think I completely, second you on that, right? So, obviously, the earlier wave of digitization was mostly on automation, right? They were trying to make the processes faster and accurate, but AI is all about bringing in intelligence, right?
Yes.
Systems that are that can self-learn, predict, and are able to make decisions. So,
Yes.
while it is, I mean, it is looking very fancy, but still organizations are not going bang on, right? So, uh, but if you really look at this landscape, standing today,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, while I understand that it is AI is not just a nice to have experiment, it is more becoming a backbone of fraud detection, credit scoring, etc. Right, and organizations are looking, or rather doing a lot of experimentation on the innovation side, right? And I was looking at one of the surveys, that was a big bang survey that we did in TCS, in the, under the banner of the BFSI sector, where there were almost, I think, close to 1,000 plus BFSI pace setter firms, right? And they were evaluated, or they responded on a scale of 1 to 10 as to what was the sole purpose of bringing in AI, right? So where,
Mm-hmm.
1 meant organizations are solely interested to use AI to lower costs and bring in a lot of optimization in their operations, and 10 meant solely focusing on spurring innovation and revenue growth, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so an outcome of this survey was a large number of organizations, I think close to 54 to 60% of the organizations, they were solely focused on innovation and revenue growth, and only 18% said that they were focusing on AI to lower cost and bring in optimization, right, in
Mm-hmm.
their operations. And the rest of the respondents were somewhere in between, right? So a lot of organizations are really going with this wave of AI and trying to embed AI, right? But still at a pilot stage. A lot of organizations we know, though they want to, but they are struggling to move beyond the pilots and go to the enterprise wide scaling. So
Mm-hmm.
my question is, what truly holds back this massive potential of AI in, in this sector in BFSI? Is it the technology, because there's a huge dependency on the legacy systems? Is it the talent gap, or the stringent regulations, or the overall organizational mindset?
Yeah, I think all four of them, all four of them. So there is a technological constraint as well. As I mentioned, BFSI industry, they adopted the technology. They were pioneers in the adoption of the technology. That's true. But when you adopt a technology, but moving from that technology rapidly to another technology, it's expensive. There is a lot of cost involved for infrastructure, revolution, digital transformation, etc. The customer experience needs to be kept in mind and everything. When we see the banks come to us for their solutions today, we see the banks are still on their legacy frameworks, on their legacy platforms for the
Correct.
last 5 to 10, 15 years also. Now they have to move. Why? Because they don't have the support of the OEMs anymore. So the
Mm-hmm.
OEMs have said that we won't support you anymore on this legacy platform, so they have to move anyways.
True.
But the adoption of the new technology is very slow in case of BFSI industry, because of these reasons. They are not there are banks especially, they have to be very sensitive about the data. The data is very confidential for them, it cannot be moved outside of
Absolutely.
their premises.
Mm-hmm.
So the banks, they come up to us and say that we want a solution which is on premise. They don't even want to move to the cloud. Even if they want to move to the cloud, it has to be private cloud or it has to be on premise. So that is the constraint that they have technologically. So similar constraint they have with the AI usage as well. So as a bidder, we cannot upload a bank document on the internet and say, hey, give me the test cases, hey, give me
Mm-hmm.
the product document, hey, give me the technical requirement document. We cannot upload any bank documents, right? So there is a constraint technologically as well, where we have to keep in mind bank's confidentiality, the compliances that bank has to undergo. Bank has to explain to its auditors, bank has to explain to RBI, SEBI, etc., that yes, this has been done according to the compliances you have set for us. They need to have consent on the data, uh, that the data that they have been using. And talent, yes, talent also is a constraint. AI has been thrust upon us when after COVID. When COVID
Correct.
was there, we were bound to go cashless. We were bound to
Mm-hmm.
go contactless transactions. And that is when banks realized that they have to be completely contactless, they have to be completely digital. And post COVID area was the aggression that we are seeing now, that banks are realizing the need for their technology upgrade and everything. But are the leaders prepared for that? No. We as leaders, we also had to undergo that particular kind of change. We had to unlearn whatever we knew, we had to learn the new technology, AI. We had to be AI savvy, we had to be AI friendly, so that we knew like where AI would fit in, which pockets AI would be feasible and implementable. And we had to ensure that we were able to manage the teams who came up with that AI adoption and give solutions on AI to the client. So
True.
talent was also a constraint. I mean, that is what it is. Regulations, as I mentioned, regulations is always a constraint, because banks and non-bank NBFCs, they always have to fall under the DPDP rules, the European Act of AI, the GDPR laws, the RBI compliance, SEBI compliance. They have to be compliant. And RBI, if you say that I have generated my credit scoring based on your social media behavior, but at the end of the day, it has to be explainable to customers and RBI both. So you have
Correct.
to
Correct.
be accountable for that. So you cannot say AI has given me this score, that's why I have mentioned this score for you. So I,
Absolutely.
as a human being, have to be accountable for that. So all the constraints are there. I mean, AI adoption is not that easy that we say. So we have to keep in mind all the constraints as well.
Can't agree more, right? So obviously there are a lot of limitations, and there's a lot of
Hmm.
cautious step forward while we take on and make our organizations, or rather make the BFS organizations AI ready, or completely make AI the central nervous system of finance, if I call it that way, right? No doubt that they are able to do beyond, right? They have a huge data points and data set at their potential. They are able to analyze these thousands of data points, bringing in anomalies, right? But then, and then the fraud detection part is there as well, as you touched upon the risk management and fraud detection. And if you say this entire fraud detection, that I mean, to me, it is more like a double-edged sword, right? On one side, AI can be leveraged to fight such frauds, right? But on the other side, it is also being used by the fraudsters to create those deep fakes and synthetic
Exactly.
identities,
Huh.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
there is a increasing need for a continuous authentication rather than just a one-time authentication, right? And then obviously uh, we cannot just put everything to AI, right? There needs to be a factor of explainability, right, to combat the different kind of algorithmic bias, to fight against all of these AI generated deepfake frauds, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you see, because you are talking to a lot of customers, you
Right.
are receiving, you're reviewing proposals, you are providing solutions, right, as part of your role. So how are you actually seeing AI reshaping this risk assessment, the fraud detection, the credit decisioning in this a new real-time environment?
Right. So I'll cover both the parts, the negative part and the positive part. Positive, I'll come to the positive part first. So the way that AI works 24 cross 7, which human beings cannot.
True.
AI can work on a vast set of data, which human beings cannot. So AI can analyze the behaviors of, as I mentioned, social media, accounting behavior, banking behaviors. How do you log in? What is the pattern of your login? How do you scroll your mouse during your login? Where from have you logged in, your geolocation patterns. So AI can analyze your patterns, which human beings cannot. And AI is scalable. AI is real time, so it can detect something, a fraud detection real time. So with all these features that AI has, risk management, risk assessment for AI is I would say a piece of cake. So risk management is one area which involves like 24 cross 7 monitoring. It involves vast set of data to be analyzed. It requires scalability. It requires real time prediction or real time flagging of the fraud. So everything is very apt for AI to do. And therefore, risk management is an area where AI is completely, I would say, tightly coupled. It's very apt for this particular area. And banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they are investing heavily on AI. They're strategizing how to use AI in this risk management area. They are absolutely bent on having AI
Correct,
agents
correct.
in order to have their risks assessed. And already there are few financial teams and agents which are already using AI agents. For example, HDFC uses AI for their continuous security monitoring. PayPal uses AI for their fraud detection. And JP Morgan Chase, it uses AI for their anti-money laundering detection. So
Mm-hmm.
it's already being in use, and it's going to use like 44% year on year. This is an area which has an aggressive growth in terms of AI usage. There is no doubt about that. But the other point that you also mentioned, there is a negative aspect as well. The hackers, they are not sitting idle. They are also AI experts. So they have created deep fakes. I remember reading there was a video scam call. The video, I mean, was completely AI generated. The C-suit who were sitting in the into that video conference, they're completely fake. I mean, they were not
Correct.
real people. The
Mm-hmm.
entire image was fake, and they invited the employees to join that call. And the outcome of the call was that the AI, the that particular video conference, they instructed those employees to provide money to those C-suits. So they extorted money with the help of that scam. So that is how the AI hackers are thinking. Like, the images are getting AI generated, the videos are
Absolutely.
getting mimicked and all. See the magnitude of AI that can do to us. A close friend of mine recently, she got a WhatsApp message from her boss, from her immediate boss, and she thought it was the real boss who said that I've lost my phone, this is my new WhatsApp number, and blah 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 blah. And the outcome of the conversation was she had to give some money to that boss in order to buy some gift for the entire employees, which will be reimbursed later.
Oh my God.
A scam. So this is also AI generated. So AI
Mm-hmm.
has completely stolen your identity. So that is also like AI generated. So this is also happening. So both ways are there. I mean, the risk of detection, risk prevention is also there, and this is also there. So this also can be prevented by AI now that hackers have done this, and AI can also like come and say that in this video scam, the eyes are not blinking properly, or the lip syncing is not consistent, as it can analyze the behaviors, so it can do that. So that also is in place right now, but this scams also has happened because of AI. So it's double edged sword, as you had mentioned completely. Yeah.
No, no, and now that you brought that example, I could relate. This was a very, talked about, incidents. I think it was
Yeah,
somewhere in the Europe or UK, wherein
yeah,
initially they tried to, the C-suite of the organization, they tried to voice call the employees, and they mimicked the voice. And there was some point that the employees were showing some inhibition, and then they created that entire video. They brought in those fake identities. They kind of personalized those fake identities on video, and that is how they got the trust of these employees. So
yeah,
that was a big scam and incident. I'm able to recall,
yeah.
and really
Just
became,
imagine.
and really the customer experience, because we as end users, we are actually looking forward to all of these lucrative things which AI is offering, right? So on one side it is the customer experience, and the other side, all of these risk averseness and the compliance. But
Hmm.
as a common user of banking and financial services, I think with AI, right, we are all looking forward to a super personalized experience. I mean, where we would want the system to know our requirements and needs even before, I mean, AI can know them even before we know how to, what kind of plans would be available to us, what is the right policy that is applicable, right? What is the right way of invest my corpus, right? So AI should be giving me suggestions. So I think the customer experience part is something, is a key which the banking and financial organizations are trying to cater to. But on the other hand, obviously there is a tight vigilance. The regulators, they are tightening the screw on data privacy, biasness, and all of this, bringing in the AI transparency. So
Hmm.
I feel this governed intelligence is the new standard, but I mean, it cannot be any longer in the experimentation phase, right? It has to come to the execution phase, and AI must balance, right, both this hyper personalization as well as this strict regulatory requirements. So how are you seeing these BFSI organizations, right? How are they able to balance both the customer expectation, the hyper personalization, and the AI driven experiences with the increasingly strict regulatory and compliance requirements?
Yeah. So when it comes to hyper personalization, I mean, the first two terms that comes to my mind is Netflix and Amazon. I mean, if I watch something on Netflix, the next day my Instagram, my Facebook, and everything is
Everywhere
flooded.
flooded.
Yeah, with those kind of. If I watched a horror movie, so the next day it's like a horror movie everywhere. If I watched a K drama, it's K drama everywhere. Same with Amazon. If I bought something, then I get Facebook notifications for other retail companies that you have bought something. So maybe other retail companies are also competing with that. So that's the personalization that they have done, Netflix, Amazon, and all these retail companies. Well, for banking, what happens is that suppose your banking is now embedded with the different service providers. For example, if you go to a salon, or if you go to a retail store to buy something, and then if it recognizes you within the vicinity of the salon or within the vicinity of the retail store, it will start popping up with discounts and offers from that bank or from your credit card, which is partnered with that particular retail store and everything. So that's the personalization that AI has helped to bring in case of BFSI. Suppose nowadays what's happening, you can also have your funds internally allocated with the help of AI, but that is consent based. Like if you add a consent to your AI agent, so AI agent will take care of all your funds. It will allocate your funds accordingly in different pockets depending on the different interest rates and everything, and as per your instruction and all. So that is another personalization that AI has brought. Fraud detection, real time fraud detection, so that is also a personalized experience that you are having. If I buy something suddenly today with a very large amount of money, and which I have not done in the recent times, in the last 1 year, that I'll receive a call immediately from the bank that whether it was you who was doing the purchase.
Correct, correct.
So
Hmm.
that is also like done by AI. Suppose I'm logging in from here today from India, next day I'm logging in from US, so the geolocation pattern,
It will detect the location. Yeah.
that also they will prompt immediately that whether it was you. So these kind of experiences AI is bringing to us, but it has to be consent based. I mean, because AI depends on my data. So beyond certain experiences, for example, if I tell AI to manage my funds or pay my electricity bill and water bill and mobile bill, etc., so those kind of things has to be consent based, otherwise it will hit the compliance. And there will be a compliance issue, because it has to explain to RBI auditors and customers both. So the compliance thing they have to keep in mind, like which experiences they are giving to the customer at the cost of the compliance, which experiences they can give without the consent of the customer. So hyper personalization, yes, it has started, and it will evolve more and more in the coming years. But compliance we have to keep in mind. I mean, as I mentioned, at the end of the day, AI is not accountable, and then at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day it has to be someone from the bank, or the bank has to be accountable. So compliance they have to keep in mind.
Right. So explainability is something very important. We just cannot,
Yeah.
blame the system that AI did so, right? At the end of the day, you have to be accountable why loan was not granted, or why a certain
Yeah.
credit score was scored this way,
Yes.
right? So I
Yes.
think that is
Yes.
very important. At the end of the day, whatever degree of, AI enablement we bring in, it is the human that becomes accountable, right?
Exactly.
Right, right.
Exactly.
Uh, Thank you. Thank you for that great response, Metu. So let us now move our focus. So far, we have been talking about AI elevating customer experience, bringing in transparency, making it risk averse, and all of this. Let us understand now that going a couple of years ahead, right? We have been hearing that why only banking? I think across all sectors almost 70 to 80% of the activities will become automated, will become AI enabled, right? So, but this evolution, right? This will also pose a massive challenge, which we are all fearing about, right? The gap between the AI capability and the human readiness, right? So we are not just asking how to adopt AI, but how to empower our people to work alongside AI. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you see almost two-third of the BFSI executives, I mean what we hear, they still feel that the human creativity or the strategic thinking is going to remain the company's competitive advantage, right? So obviously, we are not giving it all to AI, right? But with this, how do you think the BFSI organizations they are preparing their workforce for this AI first future?
Yeah. So workforce transformation is undeniable. I mean, it's not across only BFSI, but across the globe. Workforce transformation is undeniable. So there will be reduction in jobs, and there are reduction in jobs. Axis Bank they have reduced around 950 headcounts in the recent past, and Citigroup they are planning to reduce the headcount by 1,80,000. And then the Barclays they have reduced around 900 headcount in UK only. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, as I mentioned, they are investing heavily on the AI part, how AI can be leveraged more for their operations, etc. They are also planning a headcount about 1 lakh plus in the year of 2026. So overall forecast for 2026, I saw it's more than 2 lakh headcount of jobs. Now 2 lakh might sound a very short percentage if I consider the entire BFSI sector, the entire workforce. But if you consider the number itself, it's a huge number. Now why this workforce transformation is happening? Why this reduction? Because you see realistically, the voice AI companies, Ring.ai, Bolna, 11 Labs,
Hmm.
they are replacing the actual human voice people who used to make the calls, the customer calls. Now it's them who are making the outbound calls and inbound calls. Not only that, these AI agents, these companies are claiming that not only that, we are having the decisions taken from the feedback of the customer, so the decision is also integrated within that particular call. So it's the customer feedback and then decision making and then follow up on that. So entire thing, the entire chain is being done by them. So the voice agents have replaced the humans. If you see the redundant KYC jobs, KYC and
Correct.
customer onboarding, it
Hmm.
used to be done by the humans. I remember people used to
Manually.
come, fill up the forms
Mm.
and everything. It's now done by RPA, robotic process automation, or by AI. So that is there is a replacement over there. Risk risk management, risk assessment, fraud detection, cybersecurity threat detection, everything. So that also, like, AI is replacing people over there. We have co-pilots who are helping us with the code. Suppose I'm a very good developer, but I needed one junior developer to write the code along with me. Now I
Mm-hmm.
don't need that junior developer. If I'm a good developer, I will need a co-pilot. I'll need a GitHub co-pilot. So there is also a replacement. So workforce transformation is real. It's for sure real. The percentage might be less, but what it has resulted is that come up with more AI savvy people. So that is the jobs they're trying to generate. So you have to be now AI savvy, either be an AI developer or be an AI user. Both ways also will do. So that is a replacement that is happening, but it's completely real, as I'm saying that the replacements are real.
Correct, correct. I think we have to move from the mindset from, just doing AI to working with AI. That is how
Hmm.
each of us will have to elevate ourselves, right? That is the mindset change.
Yeah, there is no
Uh,
denying to that, actually. It's happening.
Correct, correct. Thanks. I think that was a great answer, Amitu. Now, moving to this entire ecosystem of BFSI, right? Because when we talk of BFSI ecosystem, it covers everything, right? It covers banks, it covers fintech organization, insurtechs, and then the regulators, right? And each of these financial services has been, having a competitive disruption, right? Each of them have their own advantages. For example, banks have capital, the fintechs have agility, the insurtechs have predictive models, and then the regulators overall that is bringing in the authority. So, m- so far they have been working in silos, right? But I don't think it is anything more about just using AI for chatbots or fraud alerts, right? We are entering an era where, you know, intelligent automation agents, they can process the entire loan application or they can handle complex claims, right? So it is about touching all of these organizations within the ecosystem. So, how do you really think this AI will reshape the partnerships between banks, the fintechs, the insurtechs, regulators, etc.? How,
Yeah.
how are you seeing that it is moving from more institution centric siloed organization to a uh, complete end to end ecosystem working together, right, in a collaborative way?
Yeah, so the BFSI ecosystem is also going to change. I mean, it is changing already, but it's going to change as well. Uh, 1 second. So what I'm saying is that in the BFSI ecosystem, banking will become more and more integrated. As I mentioned, you walk into a salon, probably there will be a time where you don't have to pay the salon anymore. The salon knows your bank account number and it will get deducted from your wallet. So you take your car to a petrol pump, and automatically from your digital wallet, the amount of the petrol gets deducted. So it will be more and more integrated and more and more invisible. Now it's visible. I have to pull up my purse, take out the money, give the money to them, or take out my mobile and pay. But it will become integrated. No more I have to pay. The payment
Hmm.
will be integrated. So it will be more open, it will be more integrated with day to day life activities that I do, be it salon, be it retail store, be it petrol pump, be it any restaurant. It will be very integrated and very invisible kind of thing. There will be workflows. I mean, as I mentioned, consent based workflows. I will ask my AI agent to pay all my electric bills, water bills, mobile bills on time at the end of the month. I don't have to worry about that. I'll tell my AI agent to nudge me when it's I'm overspending. If I account is like going below, if I'm overspending, so that will nudge me. I'll tell my AI agent to give me some credit when there is a shortage of money. It will do that. I'll tell my AI agent to buy a smartphone for me, so uh, it will go through all the stores for me, compare the prices, compare the features, also make some informal calls, maybe also make some informal calls on
Correct.
behalf of me, and then pay and then buy the smartphone for me. So there will be completely agentic workflows in the coming future in the BFSI system, where the payment system and everything is like invisible. I don't have to shell out anything, and invoices and everything already digital, and then paper based documentation will not be there. There will not be any need for that anymore. At any point of time I can download any invoice that I want, so that will be there. Yeah, so that's the ecosystem we are going towards, completely integrated, completely open, and it's invisible. I mean, it's completely invisible to the customer actually.
See, we are already going towards hyper personalization services,
Yeah.
right? All the examples that you said, right? It is, moving just beyond efficient operations to completely a personalized way of looking at it,
And
right?
look at
So
the cultural transformation. I mean, we will be the last one to get adopted to this cultural transformation. The youngsters now, our children, they'll be the first one to jump onto that, and we will be learning from them. So the cultural transformation is also going to be huge.
So I think there's a lot to see, right, when we are looking ahead, right, a couple of years from now. I think all of this initial frenzy of adoption of Gen AI that would have settled, and we would be in a world where 80 to 90% of of the firms would have taken AI to a great degree. Right. So right now, I
Exactly.
understand a lot of these organizations are in the initial POC stage and still experimenting with it. But yes, I mean, even if we say so, as you correctly touched upon, that the human is, the human in the loop is here to stay, right?
Hmm.
With the end-to-end services, for example, there is a service, for example, the front office, a lot of these areas will become machine driven, right? So
Yes.
handling the customer queries and requests through chatbots, right? So these will definitely become machine driven. But then there are areas, for example, to keep the relationship, right, that needs to be human driven. For example, managing the customer relationships and resolving the complex issues or queries. So even a couple of years ahead, right? So there is definitely some a lot of things which is changing. But yes, when you talk of, or when when we are planning or sitting down with the BFSI organizations, what is it that they are looking for in the next 5 to 7 years? What is the differentiated services that they are trying to bring in a successful AI era a couple of years down the line?
In case of BFSI industry, the success will always lie on trust. In case of banking and insurance, the success will always lie on trust. No matter how technologically evolved you are, what all changes you bring in, and how do you manage your risk, how do you manage your customer onboarding, doesn't matter. So ultimately, the trust is going to matter, because suppose my account, because of an AI agent, my account gets locked today, and one time it's okay, second time also it gets locked, and third time also it gets locked because of
Absolutely.
a faulty AI agent decision.
Mm-hmm.
As a customer experience is hit, customer delight is hit, and then I might escalate to the bank, then bank compliance also will be hit. So at the end of the day, the competing factor, the differentiating factor will be the trust of the bank that the people has on the bank, whether the bank is able to give the customer the trust that it should have given to the customer or not. So that's the basic point that will be there. And 5 to 10 years from now, as I mentioned, that banking is going to be invisible, it's going to be more and more integrated, where it's not visible anymore to the eyes and everything. The physical presence of the bank branches will not be that much, because we are moving towards an era where digital currency is going to be 80% of our cash will be digital. We will
Correct.
not have the physical currency anymore. 80% of the cash will be
Absolutely.
digital. So
Mm-hmm.
physical branches also will not be in need anymore. Why it will be needed? It will be needed only for workforce training. It will be needed only for maybe running some programs on financial literacy for the social society. It will be needed for high value transactions, complex wealth management tasks, or high value mortgage consultations. Only
Mm-hmm.
high value transactions. Otherwise, the physical branches of the banks also will not be needed. So that is the era we are moving towards. More convenient, more transformation, more automation, and everything. And as I mentioned, workforce also needs to transform along with
Correct.
that. There is
Mm-hmm.
no denying. I mean, we cannot deny. There was a land phone at one point of time, but when mobile phone came, now land phone is obsolete. So Kodak went obsolete when digital camera came into the being. So that's the transformation we are looking at. There is no denying to that.
No, absolutely. I think very relevant, examples also you brought in, and I think it's almost close to an hour, and I see, a lot of happy faces. So I think we should start taking some of the questions from the audience as well. So I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion, Mitu. Right,
Same here.
very relevant topics you brought in, I think, and as we conclude, I think it is clear that AI is not just a technology upgrade for BFSI, especially for this BFSI. It is more strategic, cultural, and there is a lot of ethical transformation that we are seeing. And the winners are not those who are just adopting AI fast. We just not need to jump up on the bandwagon, but those who are adopting it very responsibly, transparently, and human centrically, right? So I think it was a great discussion. We should start taking some of the questions from the audience, and then probably we can conclude.
Yeah, I think we have a question from Obijita to begin with, and then we can go to Rajesh. Obijita.
Thanks, and quite informative, I must say. My point is not a question, and based on all the points discussed, I was just thinking aloud, and since this is more of a interactive and thought sharing sessions that Shubhabrata you organize, there's a food for thought that I want to leave for everyone. So you would all have gone through the BLO process, which happened a few months back.
Correct.
And incidentally, I was when this happened in our locality, in one of these days, I made it a point just for the sake of it, because first time the officer came to my residence, the second time he sat in one of our locality residence, I made it a point to go to visit that house and be a part of the entire set of people who were talking to the BLO and trying to understand, solve their problems, because it was more of submission of documents, filling up the forms. And I saw, incidentally, I was just observing, there were a lot of people, uh, maybe around the age of 50 or even 60, some of them. And even some of them are in the 30s, late 30s, 40s, who were coming, and they were at a very basic level not understanding the initiative. And they were even filling up a form, and to understand that this form will get into a digital version, they were struggling. And this is, I'm talking about a very prime location of Calcutta, which is supposedly representing uh, the top 1% of our country's population, right? Now, our country, in terms of digital literacy or income level, there are data that we all can see through Google. Uh, at the same time, we also know that the penetration of 5G smartphones have gone to remote areas of our country. And even if you have visited very remote villages of Sundarbans, where people are using smartphones and probably using it for social media or whatever, probably not for banking, but for at least for entertainment. So the penetration is there. People have started using smartphones, internet, and they are, I won't say they're digitally illiterate at the moment. Now, this is a dichotomy here. There is a dichotomy now. What happens is, this has happened, if we try to look back, while this has happened with us aging, but this has happened over the last 20 years. Now, when you look back at 2005 or even early 2000, with the release of 2G and smartphones and all those things, people started using internet from their phones. And then came UPI. UPI is everywhere now. Even when I go to a temple now, you can pay the pranami through a
Through a UPI.
QR code. which essentially means that it has gone to that grassroots level, and which is a huge success for digital India. But when it comes to banking, and I specifically liked what Mitu said here, the trust. So I will, share a recent incident which happened with me. I took a new number from one of the service providers, new phone number, and which is an additional number to my current one. And after taking that number, when I activated the number, from the second day itself, messages and phone calls started coming in, saying that you have a huge overdue on your bank account, and you need to clear it, otherwise it will affect your civil score. And then calls started coming in, threat calls, literally, and saying that you have to clear this and all. And I had to switch off that phone. I reached out to the bank, the relevant bank from where it was coming. I'm a preferred customer there. I reached out to my relationship manager, and incidentally, I know the zonal head of that bank also. So I reached out to him saying, hey, what is this? Then he said, nee, I understand all this, but you will have to reach out to uh, the service provider and first get it clarified with them, because the number that you are using is probably a number that has been used by someone else earlier.
Okay.
And that data has to be communicated to the bank. It is not something that we can do anything about. So you will have to go to the service provider and clear this entire chain before you come back to the bank. So I reached out to the service provider. They did all what was required, and they said now it's done from our side. Now you go to the bank. But the calls, and this happened around 7 days back, calls are still coming in. So even if the process is so digital and so advanced, the basic things that builds that trust with the bank uh, needs to be improved still in our country. And this is a Indian bank I'm talking about.
Correct.
Now let us understand the banking landscape in India. There are banks which are multinational who have their operations in India and trying to cater to our a portion of the population. Incidentally, that population, only 35% are digital users. That's the latest data that I have, at least. I don't know, you can check from the other analyst reports. And the rest of the banks, which are Indian, they are also, and we can start with the nationalized banks also. If I try to use, and I would probably not name them for the sake of this being a public forum, but if you start using their digital apps, the mobile apps that they provide, they have, I mean, I cannot do a single transaction at one shot. Forget about AI and all those, sophisticated technology coming in. AI, obviously, again, while we are all calling it sophisticated, but at least being a programmer or a technologist, we know that it has been there for quite some time now. But what I'm saying is, we have to look at the basic services that a bank or a services products that a bank or an insurance company provides. Whether those services, creation of those services based on the customer segmentation or sentiment, that is something that is opaque to us, the customer, the end consumers. But when it comes to customer experience, I think it should be a very stepwise initiative. While we were talking about 10 years from now, what Meetu and Dola was talking about, but I think in the Indian context, where 35% of the users are digital, use digital banking, or even there's a elderly population that is still there
Correct.
who are using banking. And most importantly, there's a huge amount of population who are, I would call them rather poor part of our country, and India is a poor country, right? At the end of the day, so I don't know whether they have the facility to have digital literacy also. We don't know. The population that represents India is not the population that is there in this call.
Mm-hmm.
So we might talk about things which look very fancy and which look very advanced, and we, try to compete with the other advanced nations of the world. But we have to understand where we are sitting in. We are sitting in a country where I was just looking at the data, and 89% of the poor people in our country, so-called poor people, I don't know what the benchmark is, and I'm just looking at the data now in Google. They are using banking services. Would they be able to adopt to digital banking? Uh, well, they might have. We don't know. That data we'll have to check. But uh, an AI agent coming in and distributing his portfolio, if at all that person has a portfolio, will they ever get that trust? So it's a huge, huge thing that lies in front of us as Indians to think about when we talk about digital and AI, particularly AI in banking and financial services.
Correct. Correct.
I'll also tell you, I was talking to a few chartered accountants, almost of our age, who are into deep finance, and some of them are, maybe driving finances of large corporates in our country. The literacy of AI that they have today, vis-a-vis what we are talking about today, there's a huge, huge gap. So while we all talk about all these, good things, I mean, looking forward-looking things, and try to take everything to the next level, and I'm sure it will happen over a period of time. Our next generation will probably get into banking, which is fully automated. It might happen. There's a 90% chance that it will happen. But at least for now, when we are talking about implementation or adoption, more importantly, of AI in sectors like banking, keeping in mind the trust, the risk factors, and all that, Mitu, you have mentioned, Dola, you have mentioned, I think we should take stepwise, steps towards that ultimate goal. It cannot be done overnight, and we should not plan about or think about doing it overnight. That's a food for thought, purely personal views, but open to be corrected or challenged.
No, no, thank you so much, Abhijit. I think that was right on spot, and thank you for attending to this session as well. So we hope to see the social banking point I did not touch upon, but the social banking, the Jan Dhan Bank that was introduced recently in the recent years, we hope to see more and more on that, more improvement, more adoption around that, so that this sector of the people who are financially illiterate, who are digitally not apart from internet, they don't know anything else, they become savvy in banking as well on the internet. Yeah, that's true.
Excellent. It's always a privilege like to hear from Abhijit, like with his vast experience, of course. Thank you so much. Rajesh, you have some questions. Go ahead, please, and then we can
Yeah,
go to Petam. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Subbu. My question is more of focus on cards. So, how does the card landscape look ahead with the leverage of AI, especially with respect to the transaction between merchant and the customer or the consumers as we. So it's already requires a huge fault tolerance, and we seem to operate decently.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on that? Just I'm curious on that space.
So my thoughts would be that the card system is already integrated with the different merchants already, and they are doing a decent job in leveraging AI for fraud detection, for real-time flagging of large transactions or fraudulent transactions. I think they are doing a decent job on that. And AI can, as I mentioned, the nature of the AI is such that it can work on large data sets, it can work real-time, it is scalable, and it can learn continuously. So because of these features, AI is very apt in understanding the frauds that is happening in the card system. So it's completely aligned, AI and risk management, threat detection, fault tolerance for cards. That is my take, Rajesh. For your
Uh,
second question, yeah, I see the
mm,
question. On blockchain and AI for BFSI. Now the thing is that blockchain was a hype at certain point of time. I remember everybody was talking about
yeah.
blockchain, that blockchain will rule BFSI and everything, but that did not happen. Maybe that did not happen because, as I mentioned, that technology adoption by BFSI industry uh, is not that fast. The fast that technology is moving, BFSI is not able to move that fast because it's expensive to have all their infrastructure, all their apps, everything digitally transformed that fast. That might be one of the reasons. The other reason is that the trust in the blockchain, whether blockchain is going to be really effective or not. But government of India, they are working on that e-rupee, and e-rupee is blockchain based. So we will see more on the blockchain from the government of India. Once the e-rupee, for example, China has also their e currency, let's say, and government of India is also thinking along these lines, and that's completely blockchain based. And blockchain is also the best for cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency is very volatile, and cryptocurrency is not legal also in India. I mean, legal in the sense we can buy cryptocurrencies, but it's not regulated. I would say not legal, it's not regulated by SEBI or RBI, it's not regulated. So blockchain being the basis of cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency not being regulated in India, so there is a constraint of adoption over there in blockchain. But there are banks, global banks, I think Citibank, or I don't remember the name. There are global banks who are working in those areas, implementing blockchain for their cryptocurrency, in investing money in doing the POCs, doing research in those areas where blockchain can be used for cryptocurrency tokens in future. So there are global banks. Yeah, Rajesh. So that's my take on that.
Thank you, Midhu. Fully agreed.
Yeah.
So let's look forward. It evolves in the way we can take best advantage. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Okay, I think Pitam had a question. Go ahead, Pitam.
Yeah, sure. First of all, a fantastic session that we had, and we had a love, I mean, deep dive insights on many aspects. A couple of things that I would align with Obhijita in the sense of the inclusivity for the underprivileged India. I mean, we keep hearing about there are two Indias that we come from. So for the underprivileged India, what I feel is that, I mean, I can name the banks, I don't mind, but then there are many nationalized banks who have more pop-ups than the actual windows to click on to log into the system. So that becomes a very what should I say, a blocker, a kind of confusing part on the first customer onboarding and all that. That is one. Second is that, I mean, I I shouldn't name those chatbots, some Dia and Ria and so on, who come with the usual set of boring or rather repetitive questions that actually irritate the customer rather than getting onto the point. That happens not only with the banking apps but also with the
Mm-hmm.
apps. Till the time you use the word escalate, the moment you use the word escalate, the somehow the RP or the bot gets to know that, okay, I have to transfer it to a live human agent. I have done the trick, okay, so I know it. So these kind of things, I mean, more than a boon, it's a bane, because I mean, first we were, I mean, like, we are lagging in the race, fine, but we are intelligent people, right? We want the thing to be done fast and done away with. First of all, I mean, like you mentioned now, that government is taking initiatives in the blockchain sector, which I feel is a bit assuring, because blockchain, to my understanding, is one of the most latest tech developments, which ensures that there is uniqueness as much as our fingerprint or retina. But when we had this fingerprint retina done in our Aadhaar and all that, look what has how many duplications have been done later on, right? But I still want to count on blockchain in the shorter run. Now, main thing is that, what I mean, this is not a query, but then this is my understanding is that, I mean, Wells Fargo is leading the front in terms of complete AI across the enterprise. But I mean, if you ask me, I have see. I will lean back on the human in the loop, wherein the auditors should be given the upper hand. There should be some approvers, and then say for example, I am. I mean, I would love to be the skeptic as of now, wherein I would love to. I mean, like stand a little away from those buying those Apple Minis and giving all the controls to the. In bots talking to each other and letting all my apps do the talking, because the moment I do it, my skeptic mind says that, say for example, one day these bots go rogue and my data is already with them. First of all, they are also getting kind of reverse training in terms of the reinforced learning from my data, from existing data from my system. What happens if they turn rogue and then the system is out of hand, and then all my data and even everything, I mean, all the integrated systems are in danger. So yes, I would. I mean, like in TCS, we used to have this delivery excellence team, which the delivery people used to kind of see feel as blockers. But yes, we do need these kind of checks and balances going forward, as we ever had. I mean, all this way.
A
So yeah,
third eye validation, right?
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Pitam. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, customer experience is must have, but if something goes beyond a certain limit, that becomes toxic. That is what Chaitanya said. What is poison? Something which is beyond a certain limit. So, same for customer experience. If they overdo, it becomes annoying for the customer, and then customer delight is hit. That's true.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else has any other question? Okay. If not, thank you so much, Mitu, for this excellent insights, and Dola for the great moderations. And of course, Abhijit, as always, he has been a great supporter for AIGL Synergy with his vast experience and others as well. Thank you so much. And we can stop the recording. And thank you again, Mitu.
Thanks, everyone.